from the state of Maharashtra, and this in fact indicates towards divisions within the Maha Vikas Aghadi, where Sharad Pawar has expressed his unhappiness over the decision to rename Aurangabad to Sambhajinagar as well as Osmanabad to Dharashiv. Remember, this was a decision taken by the then Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray on the eve of his exit and resignation as Chief Minister. Mr. Pawar had said that this was a decision taken by Mr. Thackeray alone and that the alliance partners had not been consulted. This was also not part of the Maha Vikas Aghadi's common minimum program. Let's listen into what Mr. Sharad Pawar said.
प्रत्यक्षाची बाजू व्हायची आहे की त्याच्यामध्ये मतं व्यक्त केलेली त्यांनी मतं व्यक्त केली, पण हा निर्णय जसा मुख्यमंत्र्यांचा अंतिम निर्णय असतो त्या पद्धतीने त्यांनी घेतला आणि जाहीर केला. तो निर्णय शेवटी मंत्रिमंडळाचा म्हणून हा जाहीर केला जातो ही वस्तुस्थिती आहे. पण मी स्वच्छ सांगितलं की हा किमान कार्यक्रमात नव्हता किंवा असा निर्णय चर्चेला त्या ठिकाणी घेणार आहे त्याची यत्किंचितही माहिती आम्हा कोणाला नव्हती.
एक दिवस पूर्वी सांगितलं होतं आपले मंत्री जे आहेत.
So that was the reaction coming in from Sharad Pawar. Remember, he's not happy with Aurangabad name change. Is that the possible cause of rift in the future? Because when he asked about the decision of a name change in Aurangabad, he was speaking to the media there where he spoke about how there was no discussion that happened and he was never asked about it. But on the other hand, we also have the Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut stating that there was no objection whatsoever raised as far as Sharad Pawar is concerned, and they took their decision anyhow. It looks like at this stage that there was no inner consultations being made as far as the MVA is concerned, then ruling party in the state of Maharashtra. After we saw how the name of Aurangabad was changed on the last day of when Uddhav Thackeray was the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. And Shivani now joins us on this broadcast. So Shivani, this looks like two different versions. We have Sharad Pawar making it clear that there were no discussions being made and possibly he was not even considered in that decision making. On the other hand, Sanjay Raut says that there was no objection raised.
Well, definitely you're clearly saying that Sanjay Raut mentioned today when we asked him the same question that now Sharad Pawar seems unhappy and is clearly informed that he was not informed about his particular announcement. But here Sanjay Raut says that he's not unhappy. He only mentioned that he was not informed, though there were discussions, and when the decision was announced, the supremo of both the parties were present, and before them only this particular renaming announcement has taken place. So definitely there is no question of Pawar being unhappy. On the other hand, Pawar clearly in Aurangabad said that I have clearly said earlier also that I was not informed. Even we were not informed that this decision will be announced in the last cabinet led by CM Uddhav Thackeray. Clearly showcases that how at the last moment of time as well there was constant miscommunication that was going on by Uddhav Thackeray, that such important and big decisions were taken in, were decided, but were not informed to their alliance party, NCP and Congress. And
right.
We clearly remember it was the time that two of the Congress ministers also left that particular last cabinet meeting in the middle of a meeting, and they were also very unhappy with the same renaming announcement.
Right, Shivani, stay with us. Let's also listen into this reaction coming in from Sanjay Raut of the Shiv Sena.
बात ऐसी है कि पवार साहब की भूमिका है. पवार साहब ने इतना ही कहा कि हमसे बातचीत नहीं हुई, इतना ही कहा है. समन्वय नहीं था, निर्णय को विरोध नहीं किया है. कैबिनेट में दोनों पार्टी के प्रमुख लोग मंत्री बैठे थे और एक मत से कैबिनेट में ये प्रस्ताव मंजूर हुआ है.
All right, so that was the response coming in from Sanjay Raut, who at this stage is saying that there were no objections being raised by Sharad Pawar. On the other hand, questions are being raised whether or not Sharad Pawar was not happy with the name change of Aurangabad. Because remember, when asked on the decision to rename Shivani, we saw as to how he spoke about this and stated that there was no discussions made or any consultations made with several other leaders of the MVA.
Well, clearly here we have seen that in fact in the last cabinet meeting also Uddhav Thackeray had given several decisions. One of the biggest was to rename Aurangabad, and not only that but to other two places as well. Osmanabad also includes the same. But here we saw that how there were mixed reaction those came in, and in fact the alliance NCP and Congress themselves said that Uddhav Thackeray was trying his level best at the last moment to regain those MLAs to come back to his side, rather going to Shinde's cadre, and that is why we saw that there is unhappiness which is still going on. And we also saw that how there are leaders, the MLAs of Congress, those are also somewhere unhappy. In fact, on the floor test date, we also saw that how Prithviraj Chauhan, one of the biggest, Ashok Chavan, and several other...
Right, Shivani, let me just interrupt you there. Let's go across and have a reaction coming in from the NCP. Mr. Majid Memon joining us on the phone line. Mr. Memon, the NCP chief, Mr. Sharad Pawar, has said that the NCP was not taken on board at the time that the decision was taken by Mr. Uddhav Thackeray to rename Osmanabad as well as Aurangabad. Your reaction to this contradiction from within the alliance?
You see, there is no question of contradiction. These are all factual positions which are now surfacing. People know in Maharashtra, when Uddhav Thackeray was in deep distress, when Shinde and his group were at its peak, in rebellion activities, at that time, desperately, Uddhav Thackeray thought that, the allegations that he has departed from the path of Hindutva, so he thought that he would be able to cool down Shinde group and save his government by rushing to get these two names of Osmanabad and Aurangabad changed. You can say that, well,
right.
I am very much following Hindutva policy, but it did not happen. He lost, he did not take detailed discussion from allies, or did not explore the possibilities as to what would be the impact of changing the name of Aurangabad overnight in a matter of couple of hours on Osmanabad. And therefore, he took that decision. But unfortunately, the names also changed. He displeased the entire Muslim community. He brought displeasure from Aurangabad and Osmanabad people, and also lost his government. So it was a Mr.
Memon, if you could also stay with us. We are also joined by, in fact, Shehzad Poonawala of the BJP on this broadcast. And Shehzad, how would you respond to what the NCP is saying? Sharad Pawar says that there was no consultations made with the MVA leaders as far as the name change is concerned. And we just heard Majid Memon also stating that this was a last-ditch attempt by the Shiv Sena to really save a face because they were losing their power in the state.
The cat is out of the bag. From day one, we have said this was a Maha Vikas Aghadi. It was an alliance of convenience, corruption and contradictions. And today, look, the entire ploy was to pretend to be Hindutva party on the last days of the government, and therefore this decision was taken. But so far, Uddhavji was silent when Savarkar was insulted. Uddhavji was silent when Hindutva was insulted. That was because Sharad Pawarji and Sonia Gandhiji never allowed him to take any free hand or have any decisions in favor of Hindutva. And this is completely exposed today. The fact that this decision is also not agreeable to the other allies of the MVA. The Congress, 200 people had resigned after the name was changed from Aurangabad to Sambhajinagar, and now even NCP is saying. So this shows that the kind of pressure on Uddhav Sena was always to not follow the path of Babasaheb Thackeray, but to follow the path of Sharad Pawarji and Sonia Gandhiji, who were always against Babasaheb Thackeray. And therefore, this is what we said. This was a compromise of principles for power, and that has been exposed today.
Let me take that across to Mr. Majid Memon. Mr. Memon, the name change has in fact been a long-standing demand of the Shiv Sena in its pre-Aghadi avatar. But the allegation against both the NCP as well as the Congress is that they kept the Shiv Sena, particularly Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, on the leash and restrained him from taking any such step while he was the Chief Minister. Your response to that?
No, see, what you say is true. That changing the name of Aurangabad into Sambhajinagar has been waiting for fairly long time. So what was the rush for a day? One day we just rushed and call a cabinet meeting and change the name. This is precisely what you say is the cause for concern for the secular parties like Congress and NCP. And moreover, the Maha Vikas Aghadi was functioning on a common minimum program, which did not include the changing of Muslim names to Hindu names, etc. This was done in a rush of blood. And therefore, the electorate, the substantial electorate of Congress and NCP is aggrieved. And this is what is the ground reality. We don't talk of politics. We talk of what is the impact of certain action taken by the government in hurry-burry.
And if the
knows
decision of the Uddhav Thackeray government has left a lot of your constituents aggrieved, Mr. Memon, then what does this bode for the future of your equations and the Congress's equations with the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena? Do we see them cooperating in the future, or is this the axe that broke the camel's back?
No, if you also see our leader Sharad Pawar's statement that whether it is BMC election, which is round the corner, other corporation elections which are due very soon, and also 2024 assembly election, which is a bit away, almost 2 years now. But then Sharad Pawar ji, with his political wisdom, has already said that we are going to contest the elections which are all coming in next 2 years as MVA partners. So therefore, this one lapse on the part of Uddhav is not enough to sever relationship.
And Shehzad, how would you like to respond to what Mr. Memon is stating? He's stating that their relationship might continue even further for the upcoming civic body polls as well. But do you believe that in a way the infighting has begun within the MVA because they have not reached a consensus, and now we have a new party running the state? How will this really impact the future of this alliance that was in place?
See, they were always an alliance of contradiction. Even now, the contradiction in the Legislative Council can be seen. They can't select one person as their leader. But having said that, today Mr. Majid Memon has made a big disclosure that they are unhappy with a step that Uddhavji has taken, apparently to claim that he's walking the path of Hindutva. This means that for the sake of power, Uddhavji so far was compromising on the principles of Hindutva, on the principles of Anand Digeji, of Baba Thackerayji, and he was being forced by Shiv Sena, by Sharad Pawar and Sonia Gandhi. And this is what Eknath Shindeji said, that we could not speak about Savarkar while we were in that alliance. We could not speak about Hindutva while we were in that alliance. Today, I think Eknath Shindeji has been completely vindicated. The stand that Sharad Pawarji has taken shows that Uddhavji was forced and he was willingly compromising on Hindutva and Baba Saheb's principles for the sake of just keeping power. And I think that has been completely exposed today.
We'll see how this pans out. Thanks a lot for joining us on the broadcast, to both Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla as well as Majid Memon. Let me go across once again to Shivani. Shivani, what does this now mean for the future of what's left of the Maha Vikas Aghadi? Because if this is a serious contradiction within the alliance that's emerged, how is that going to bode for their future cooperation, including the upcoming BMC elections?
Siddhant, we have to understand one very tricky step that Mr. Pawar has taken ahead of all of this thing. One side very clearly mentioned that he was unaware of this and he's not really happy with the renaming of Aurangabad. Simultaneously, earlier also he made a statement that the Maha Vikas Aghadi Sarkar will be, fighting the election in 2024 together, to which we even asked Sanjay Raut that is this what you guys are deciding? The party is deciding the alliance. He said that we are yet to make any decision. We are yet to make any conversation on that. We have not decided anything. There is no meeting that has taken place, so we cannot predict as to what will happen in future. But yes, Sharad Pawar is a respectable man and we will definitely go through whatever he is saying. So still we can say that Sharad Pawar on the one side has opened the door for the Maha Vikas Aghadi Sarkar alliance in the future as well, but is clearly showcasing that he is not really happy with the statements and the decisions those are being taken from Shiv Sena Supremo Uddhav Thackeray. Simultaneously, Sanjay Raut at this particular moment of time within Maharashtra political crisis is trying to maintain as much as not any controversial statement to be delivered against Pawar or against Maha Vikas Aghadi Sarkar alliance.
All right, we'll wait and see what really transpires next within the MVA. For now, thank you, Shivani, for getting us the latest. Time for a short break now, but news and updates continue.